Good morning, all. I welcome all back to the analog circuits gate class. So, in previous class, we were discussing about the basics of op-amp. What is an op-amp? What are the characteristics of an op-amp? And how an op-amp can be used for some basic applications like inverting, non-inverting amplifier, summing amplifiers. Summing amplifier, again, it is inverting, non-inverting, and then differential amplifier, which can act as a subtractor, all those things, right? Now we'll proceed with some more applications of op-amp, which are more important. Like we'll be discussing about differentiator, integrator, comparator, schematic trigger, all these things. Right. So let us start with the class. First one. First, let me introduce you the first application, which is integrator. So what is this integrator? Integrator, we all know it is a mathematical operation which performs the integration operation, right? So here what this circuit does is we'll be using an op-amp. It will be designed as an integrator where the output will respond to the changes in the input, which changes over time. Like the output will be integration of input with respect to time. Okay, so whatever may be the change in the input voltage over time, those changes will be those changes will be recorded by the output. So those changes will be shown in the output. So that's what an integrator does. And if you see the circuit, we can very well understand it looks somewhat similar circuit what we have already discussed. Like if we see the circuit, it looks somewhat similar to an inverting amplifier, is it not? You can see that I have some input which is connected through a resistor to the inverting terminal, and I have a feedback path from the inverting terminal to the output, right? Okay. So this looks somewhat similar to an inverting amplifier, right? But what is the change? Again, the change is very well shown. That is here, instead of a resistor in the feedback, I have a capacitor, right? If you remember, normally when you want to design a integrated circuit using passive components, we'll be designing with as R in series with C, RC combination, and the output will be taken across C, right? That will act as an integrator because capacitor, the voltage across the capacitor, the current through the capacitor, this brings the concept of integration. Okay, and therefore here also we have used an integrator, that too in the feedback path of the op amp. Okay, so let us prove that this circuit will act as an integrator with respect to mathematical expressions, right? So all these currents have been marked here. You can see the input voltage is Vs, the input current is that is flowing here as Is, and the current through the capacitor IC, and the current that flows into the op amp as In. Okay, and this is a node. Since the non-inverting terminal is grounded, the potential at this point will be zero. That is, it is at ground potential. Okay, let me consider this node as node G, right? So with respect to node G, if you write the KCL, that is current equation, total current to this node is equal to zero. So what are the currents? Is, which flows into, and we have two currents which are flowing out of the node, that is IC and IN. So we can write it as Is minus IN minus IC is equal to zero, right? Since this is flowing into the node and these two are flowing out of the node, you have this minus sign. Okay, anyway, the total current is equal to zero. And as I said, this node G is at virtual ground, right? And therefore, the voltage, the current here, the voltage at this point will be equal to zero. And we always have an assumption, the golden rule, as we discussed in the previous class. As per the golden rule, no current will enter into the op amp, and therefore this IN is also equal to zero, right? So if I substitute IN is equal to zero, then it means IS is equal to IC, because here IN becomes zero, and therefore it is IS equal to IC. And what is this S or IC? I can write IS as the voltage divided by the resistor value, which is Vs by R1. As I said, this voltage is a ground potential. The voltage across the resistor will be simply Vs. So Vs divided by R1. So I can write Is equal to IC equal to Vs by R1. Right? So this is one part. Now coming to the capacitor part. What is the voltage across a capacitor? Generally, we say the voltage across any capacitor is the charge uh, divided by the capacitance value, right? It is the ratio of charge in capacitor. So it is Q by C, right? So the voltage across the capacitor is Q by C, and the voltage across the capacitor is equivalent to the output voltage. Only thing is it is opposite in direction, is it not? This here we have shown the current flow as from this side to this side, and for here plus and minus. At the negative potential we have marked here as V naught. Okay, and therefore I can say VC and V naught are opposite to each other in polarity, right? So we can write VC is equal to Q by C, which is equal to minus V naught. Okay, but the capacitor charge, okay, we have an expression for the charge in the capacitor, is it not? So Q will be equal to integral Is into dt. Is it not? The charge will be equal to integration of the current, right? So Is into dt. What is Is? Here we have written Is is equal to Vs by R1. So Is will be equal to Vs by R1 into dt. Okay. Now write the expression for V naught. Okay, so substituting here, what is V naught? Since V naught is equal to Q by C, what is Q? Q is integral of Is into dt, which is integral of Vs by R1 into dt. So substituting all these things, finally I'll get the expression as V naught is equal to minus R1C integral Vs dt. Okay, minus R1C integral Vs dt. So this is the final expression for the output of this integrator circuit. But if at all we assume that this capacitor has some initial charge, okay, some charge has been stored in the capacitor, which is used here in the feedback, then we have to consider that also when we write the final expression. And therefore your final expression comes as V naught is equal to the initial charge, what we designate as Vx. Okay, so Vx minus, that is this initial charge plus the current output. The current output has a minus sign here, is it not? So that minus will come here. So the initial charge plus the current output, which is minus 1 by R1C integral Vs dt. Yes. So remember this expression. This will be the final expression of an ideal integrator, right? So now, what is the main application of this integrator? As I said, an integrator circuit is one which is going to respond to the changes of the input voltage with respect to time, is it not? And we can use it specifically for generating a ramp signal. Okay, we can call this as a ramp generator, which will be quite useful when we are designing timing circuits. Okay, and since it is generating a ramp voltage for a constant voltage, when I give square wave as an input to my integrator circuit, I'll be generating ramps in opposite directions. That is, when we have a positive voltage, I'll have a negative ramp, and when my input is a negative voltage, I'll have a positive ramp. Okay? And on the whole, when I give a square input to an integrator circuit, I'll be getting a triangular output, okay, which is nothing but a combination of positive and negative ramps. Okay. Applications. What are the applications of an integrator? In the triangular wave or ramp generator, we can use this. Okay, so as we just saw, integrator can be used for generating a triangular waveform, or it can simply generate a ramp waveform. Okay, and it will be very much useful in A to D converters. And then if you at all we want to solve any differential equation, even in that case we can go in for this integrator circuit. Okay, so these are some major applications of the integrator circuit. Now let's see a problem here, and you people are going to do this problem. So note down here the same concept, whatever we have used, the direct problem. See, the integrator circuit as shown in figure has an initial voltage Vx is equal to this much across the capacitor at time t is equal to 0. So the initial voltage across this capacitor is minus 1.4 volts. A step input voltage Vs is minus 2 volts. So the input applied here is minus 2. At time t is equal to 0. To determine the RC time constant, we should find out what is the value of RC time constant necessary such that the output voltage reaches 10.2 volts at time t is equal to 5. So at t is equal to 5, my output is 10.2. Initially, we started t is equal to 0. So it goes from t is equal to 0 till t is equal to 5. And finally, at t is equal to 5, my output reaches 10.2 volts. Okay. So now we have to, with all these details, let me find out what will be the time constant value, R and C. R and C, we cannot find it out individual values. So instead, we can make it as a time constant, RC time constant. Okay. So just try doing this one. What we have to do, just try with the expression, the final expression, what we derived. Let me go back and show you the final expression. So this is the final expression. Output is equal to this initial voltage, which is given. Output voltage is given. RC is unknown. VS input is given. So all these data are given except this one. Okay. Try to substitute and get the answer for this. Let me wait for some time, 2 minutes time. Try to. Yeah, it's a direct question, not much difficult. So you can very well do this. Just try to substitute and find out. Okay, I have given you enough time. So let us see the solution for this. Yes, as I said, it's directly you have to write the final expression, substitute all the values. See, Vx value is substituted as minus 1.4 volts and this input Vs is minus 2 volts. You have to integrate between 0 and 5. This is what many were asking. Is that not? What should be done for this integration limits? You see, it is given us a time t is equal to 0. It should start. It starts and till time t is equal to 5. We are finding out the output. So it should be integrated between 0 and 5. Okay, simplifying this, we'll be getting the RC time constant value as 0.862 milliseconds. Okay, now going to the next one, differentiator. Okay, now differentiator, what is this one? Which is again a mathematical operation, we know, which is opposite to integration. This differentiator is a circuit where the output of the circuit will be giving an voltage which is differentiation of the input voltage with respect to time. Okay, so if you see the changes in the circuit, we can very well notice that here the input resistance has been replaced with a capacitor. Is it not? The feedback resistor remains the same. See, in the previous case for an integrator, in the feedback resistor was replaced by an capacitor. Okay, here for a differentiator, the input resistance is replaced by a capacitor. Okay, so that is the only difference. Input resistor replaced by capacitor. Okay, rest all remains the same. Since this also looks like an inverting amplifier where a small change has been made in the input side. Okay, now the similar way we have to do this. You can very well find out what is this. Again, I'm applying KCL for this node, same thing. Okay, the current flowing into this, and these are the currents which are flowing out, and IN will be always 0, and therefore this current will be equal to this current. This is what we said in the previous one itself. So same thing holds good here also. Okay. Now again, writing the expression for voltage across the capacitor. See, previously we wrote the current through the capacitor, the formula for that. Okay. Now I'm writing the voltage across the capacitor, which is Q by C, which this voltage will be equal to this voltage Vs. Okay. The voltage across the capacitor will be equal to the input voltage, because the entire input voltage is supplied across the capacitor, is it not? So therefore, Vs will be equal to Vc, which is equal to Q by C. Okay. Now we all know what is the voltage across the capacitor. Okay. So write the expression for that, simplify, and then write an expression for the output. Same concept. Output voltage will be equal to the current into the resistance value. This current flows in this direction, and therefore the voltage across the resistor is I2 R2, and the output voltage is negative to this, because as the current flows this side, and in the negative side we are measuring V0. Therefore, I can write V0 is equal to minus I2 into R2, and I2 will be equal to Is, as we said already. These two will be equal since In is equal to 0. Okay. So substituting all these things, we can find out an output expression, which is V0 is equal to minus R2C. It is R2C is a constant. Okay. R2C dVs by dt. Okay. So this is how we'll be getting the expression for the input. Sorry, for the output. And from the expression, we can very well find out that output is a differentiation of the input. Okay. And now, what is the application of this differentiator? What and all we can do with this differentiator? Okay. So differentiator, as we saw in integrator, which is used to generate a ramp waveform or a triangular waveform. Here, this differentiator is used to generate spikes, or I can say it can act as an edge detector. So whenever there is a transition from positive to negative or negative to positive, whenever there is a transition, then in those places you'll be having spikes generated. Okay. So spikes means a sharp waveform. Okay. Exactly at the transition point. So you can very well see it in the diagram. So when I give a square input to these differentiator circuit, where and all I have a transition, where and all I have edges, whether it is positive to negative edge or from negative to positive edge, whatever it is, where and all I have a transition, where and all I have an edge, at that place and all spikes will get generated. So you can see sharp spikes are generated here. Okay. And when it is from positive to negative, negative spike is generated. From negative to positive, positive spike is generated. Hope you can understand this. Okay. Since we are giving the input in the inverting terminal of the op-amp, that is why you have the reverse one. Okay, that's why spike is reversed. And other applications, as we saw few applications for integrator, we have some more applications for differentiator also. It can be used in the PID controller. It can act as the high pass filter. That one, it can act as a low pass filter. Okay, RC combination will act as a low pass filter. The differentiator can act as a high pass filter. Okay, in the wave shaping circuits, to where and all we want to generate some narrow pulses, because you saw just now, is it not, when we give a square input, it is generating spikes, that narrow pulses are generated. So in a wave shaping circuit, to generate these narrow pulses corresponding to this input, we can have this differentiator circuit. Okay. So again, we'll see a problem here also. Determine the output voltage of a differentiator circuit. So the differentiator circuit is given. Assume the input voltage, input is given, but now it has been given as an expression, okay, an AC signal, and the time constant R2C1 is equal to 1.5 milliseconds. See, they didn't give us separately what is the value of R2, what is the value of C. That is not given. The entire time constant R into C combination, the value is given as 1.5 milliseconds. Okay. Now we should find out what is the output voltage. So as we did the problem in the first case, you have to write the expression for the output and substitute all the necessary things. Again, a direct problem. Just try it. Again, I'll give you just 2 more minutes. Try to find out what is the answer for this. Don't take much time. It is very simple. So you have to find out what is the answer for this. Yes, make it pass. Just substitute, simplify, and find out the answer. Getting it? I'm showing the solution. Just you can see what is the solution here. It means you are writing the output expression for this differentiator circuit and substitute the value of V naught. I'm sorry, substitute the value of VI. Okay, differentiated with respect to dt. So here you have to do it, the differentiation part, you have to do it properly. 3.5 cos 100 pi t. So differentiation of cos theta is minus sin theta. Okay, this is cos 100 pi t with respect to t. So you will be getting 100 pi extra. Okay, so it is 3.5 into 100 pi minus 3.5 100 pi sine 100 pi t divided by t. Okay. And so evaluate all these things and you'll get an answer for this. Okay. Evaluate all these things. Okay. Next one. Just like summary, this is just like a summary. You can see when it is an inverting amplifier, what is the expression for gain? When it is a non-inverting amplifier, what is the gain expression? Summing amplifier, what is the output expression? For a differentiator, what is the output expression? For an integrator, what is the output expression? Just go through once. Okay, just have a glance. All these things we have studied already. Just this is summary which says that what is the output expression of each and every circuit, whatever we have seen till now. Okay, inverting amplifier, non-inverting amplifier, summing amplifier, differentiator, integrator, for all. Just go through what is the expression for it. Okay, fine. Now we'll do one more problem. Note down the question. You can see because circuit is there, a consecutive circuit is there, and we need to find out we need to find out the input where the output is given. See, it's a very tricky question. You can see circuit is given. Normally they will give the input and they will ask us to calculate the output. Now in this case, output is given, we are supposed to find out the input. Okay, so we cannot just like that find out the output or input in a single stretch. Okay, so we have to divide the circuit into smaller circuits. So this circuit is divided into, as it is seen, we can easily divide this into three sections. Okay, so let me divide this as one section, and the second center one is the second section, and the third one is the third section. Now your job is to find out what is the each and every circuit, what is the circuit in each and every section. Okay, so first one. So just seeing the circuit, I can easily make it out. Is it not? Input given to the non-inverting terminal, you have a resistor here, you have feedback. So it is nothing but a non-inverting amplifier. Similarly, see the second one. Non-inverting is grounded. The output of the first one, which acts as the input of the second part. So input is given to the inverting terminal and you have a feedback. So this is a inverting amplifier, exactly. And here you can see that input is applied here, okay, to the inverting terminal, non-inverting grounded. Again you have a feedback from the output to the input. So, and therefore this is also an inverting amplifier. Now output is given. How to find out the input? So it means this side I know what is the output signal. So I should find out what is the input here. So we have to backtrace one by one. Okay, first evaluate this. From this, for this circuit, since I know the output, all the resistor values, find out the input here. Then by knowing the output of the second one with all these resistor values, calculate the input here. And with this output and all these resistors value, calculate the input. So that is the procedure. Just make a try. Make a try. It's very simple circuit, very, very simple circuit. You can easily do it. Yes, getting it? So non-inverting, inverting, and inverting amplifier. Okay, now the solution. First, we have to, as I said, from the backwards, knowing what is V naught, find out VB. Okay, expression, just gain expression. Just now we revised this, not what is the output expression for all these amplifier circuits and all. So just using the gain expression, find out what is the input. Now with that output, find out the input to the second part. And now this will act as the output for the first one. With that output, find out what is the input. And that will be the overall one. Okay. Hope this is clear. You don't have any doubts. Yes, we were discussing about this. No, sorry. I just must see PPT. Right. There's one more problem here. A similar problem, a very simple problem. You can again see there is a circuit which can be divided into smaller one, and easily you can find out what is the output section by section. Okay. So here the question is, we need to calculate the output voltage, right? We need to calculate the output voltage when V1 and V2 are given as 700 millivolts. Okay. So what circuit is this? First part of the circuit is an inverting amplifier, and the second part you can see two inputs are going. This is one input, and you have one more input which is which was the output of the first section. Okay, so both are going as input to the second one, and therefore this is acts as a summing amplifier. Okay, so second part is a summer. So first is an inverting amplifier, and the second part is a summer. Okay, so we have to calculate the output voltage. So how to calculate the output voltage? Start doing is to write the expression for an inverting amplifier, found the output equation, then write the expression for the summer and find the output equation. So please do it. Very simple problem, a direct question. See here, the main thing is you should know how to identify the circuit. What circuit is that? So once you identify the circuit, your job is very simple. Easily you can write the expression for the circuits and substitute and get the outputs. Yes, just make it fast. Very simple one. Easily you can make it out. Just an inverting amplifier and a summing amplifier. Yes, let me show the output. So as I said, this first one is an inverting one, second one is a summing amplifier. Okay, so you can find out the output of the first one, which is minus 1.4 volts. Then using that as the input of the second one, the output will become 0 volts. See, finally the output of this circuit is 0. Okay. Now let us start with comparators. Okay, so till now we were discussing about some of the applications of op-amp where the op-amp is used in closed loop configuration. That is, we had a feedback from the output to the input, whether it is inverting amplifier or non-inverting amplifier or differential amplifier or differentiator, integrator, everywhere we had a feedback from the output to the input, right? And this one we call it as the open loop, closed loop configuration, right? And there are few applications of op-amp where we'll use the op-amp in open loop configuration. In the sense, we will not have any feedback from the output to the input. Okay. So one such is this comparator. We have very few applications in open loop configuration. Okay, one of the very important application is comparator. So what is the comparator? As the name indicates, we all know comparator means we need to compare something, right? So an op-amp which is used to compare an unknown voltage with a known reference voltage is called as a comparator. Okay, so whenever you want to compare, you need a reference voltage, is it not? So here also we'll be comparing the unknown voltage with a known reference voltage, and based on the difference between these two, okay, either your difference can be positive or negative. If your difference is positive, your output will go to plus VSAT, that is maximum voltage, positive maximum voltage, which is V saturation. Or if the difference voltage is negative, then your output will go to minus VSAT, that is maximum negative voltage. Okay, so which is minus VSAT. So your output could be either of these two only. You cannot get any other output in a comparator. Okay, so please remember, if the circuit is a comparator, the output could be either plus VSAT or minus VSAT. Okay, you cannot have any intermediate value, only extreme values, extreme positive and extreme negative. Okay, there are two types of comparators, non-inverting comparator and inverting comparator. First, non-inverting comparator. So as I said, whenever a circuit is a comparator, whenever it acts as a comparator, it needs two voltages. One will be an unknown voltage and the other one will be a reference voltage, known reference voltage. So whenever the unknown voltage is given to the non-inverting terminal of the op-amp, such circuit is called as non-inverting comparator. Okay, you can very well see here. This is the unknown voltage AC input which is given to the non-inverting terminal of the op-amp, and therefore this is non-inverting comparator, and the non-reference voltage is given to the inverting terminal. Okay, so this is a non-inverting comparator. So what it will do, it will compare this voltage and this voltage. Whenever Vin is greater than V reference, okay, Vin is greater means positive is greater, and therefore your output will become plus VSAT. Whenever V reference is greater than Vin, then your output becomes minus VSAT. Okay, so this output is going to be either plus VSAT or minus VSAT, depending on the difference. If the difference is positive, this will be plus VSAT. If the difference is negative, then it will be minus VSAT. Okay, so that is what's shown here. When Vin is greater than V reference, your difference voltage becomes positive, and therefore output will also be positive, that is plus VSAT. When Vin is less than V reference, Vd is negative, and therefore V0 will also be equal to minus VSAT. The same thing is shown in the graph. See, verify the graph. This is the input signal, and this is a constant reference voltage what we are having, a DC reference voltage, and this input signal and this reference voltage only is compared. So whenever my input starts from 0, reference voltage is somewhere here. Okay, so initially my input will be less than the reference, so Vin less than reference, so your output will be minus VSAT. So that is what this minus VSAT. Okay, once your input crosses the reference, this is my reference, when my input crosses the reference, that is when it is higher than my reference voltage, output is plus VSAT. Okay, so that's why output comes as plus VSAT. So till your input is greater than V reference, my output is plus VSAT. For this entire region, input is less than this V reference. This is my V reference or not. My input is lesser than that, and therefore it is minus VSAT. Okay, so this is how we'll be getting the graph for a non-inverting comparator. Okay, inverting comparator. Now you should be in a position to understand what is an inverting comparator, is it not? So here, whenever we provide input to the unknown input to the inverting terminal of the op-amp, then it is called as inverting comparator. Okay, so unknown input given to the inverting terminal, and therefore the reference voltage will be given to the other one, that is the non-inverting terminal. So if we have the inputs given like this, then it is called as inverting comparator. Now the logic remains the same, the concept, the working of the circuit remains the same. So again, since you don't have any feedback, anything here, this will be comparing the two voltages which it receives. So one is the voltage what is going here, and the other is the reference voltage. So whenever input is greater than this, okay, V reference, then your output, negative input is greater, is it not? So difference is negative, and therefore output will go to minus VSAT. Whenever Vin is less than V reference, so it means V reference is greater, difference is positive, and therefore output will go to plus VSAT. Okay, that is what's shown here. You can see it. See the table and see the graph that has been drawn. Same thing what we explained in non-inverting comparator. I think you can understand this. Just go through. The entire operation is shown in the table and it is pictorially represented with a graph also. So it will be easy to remember. Just compare the graph with the table that is given. Yes, hope you understood. Now, the next one, schema trigger. So what is a schema trigger? Schema trigger is also a comparator which is called as regenerative comparator. This comparator has a positive feedback. See, we said no comparator, it is operated in open loop configuration, right? But this comparator, schema trigger, is operated with a positive feedback. Okay. So what is the need for this schema trigger? Why it is called as regenerative comparator means, see, whenever there is a small fluctuation in the input signal, whenever noise is added to the input signal, there are chances that our output also may fluctuate. You may get some unwanted spurious bursts at the transition. That is, see, now here the signal is very smooth, okay, and therefore whenever there is a transition from higher to lower or from lower to higher, when it crosses the reference voltage, you have a transition here. Suppose just think you have some noise here. Okay, whenever there is a noise, it will go high and then again come low, again it will go high and come low. Similarly, here also you may have like that. So what will happen? Unwantedly, your output will also be changing from one level to the other level. It will be shifting its position from positive to negative or negative to positive. Unwanted transitions will be there in the output graph. Okay, so to avoid this, we'll be going in for regenerative comparator, which is called a schema trigger. Okay, it's a circuit with positive feedback. So you can see this is the circuit of a schema trigger, where you can see a positive feedback here. So from the output through a resistor, you have a positive feedback here. Okay, and what happens, what is the difference here is, here also two signals will be compared. One is the unknown input Vi, which will be compared with a known reference. This is the voltage what is coming here is the known reference, which is being designated as V plus. So the expression for V plus will be total voltage V into this resistor R1 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay, so total this voltage V naught into R1 divided by R1 plus R2 is the part of the voltage which is fed back to the input. Okay, so that is what V plus, and this V plus is always not constant. Okay, because the output of a comparator can be either plus VSAT or minus VSAT. So when this is plus VSAT, I'll get a positive reference here, and when my output is minus VSAT, I'll get a negative reference here. So it means this unknown input is not compared with a standard known reference. Instead, it is compared with two standard references. Okay, plus V plus and V minus. Okay, and you can see that how it is calculated. That is, when my output is positive V saturation plus VSAT, okay, which is approximately say plus 15 volts in an op amp. Okay, when my output is plus 15 volts, then how much is fed back here? 15 into this R1 divided by R1 plus R2. Is it not? So in that case, say you're coming and arriving to a value of 7.5. Okay, if we assume that R1 and R2 are equal, and what will happen? R1 R2 equal means R1 divided by 2 R1. Okay, so it is divided by 2, so I'll get it as 7.5 plus 7.5. So initially it will be plus 7.5. So unknown voltage is compared with the plus 7.5, and at one point when unknown voltage is greater than the 7.5, what will happen? Since this is greater, output will go to minus VSAT. So minus VSAT means it is minus 15 volts. So when this is minus 15 volts, what will happen to the reference voltage? What is generated here? It becomes minus 7.5. So immediately now the reference changes to minus 7.5. Now the input is compared with minus 7.5. Okay. So whenever my input is lower than this minus 7.5, okay, okay, then only this becomes higher. My output will get shifted to plus V sat. So what you can understand from this, when I will be having transition in a schematic trigger circuit, whenever my unknown input is greater than plus V reference, and whenever my unknown input is less than minus V reference, only in these two conditions, I'll be having a shift in my output. I'll be having a transition in my output. And these small noise changes cannot lead to any unwanted transitions. Okay, because the noise what you have here cannot change the output, because the output will change only under two conditions: when input is greater than plus V sat, plus V is reference, and when the input is less than minus V reference. Okay, so which we can show it like this. Okay, and this is my input and this is my output. We'll be having switches from, see, this graph, it switches from positive to negative. When it is switching, when V in, this is my V in, is it not? When V in is greater than V positive, that is, this is my positive reference voltage, this point. So when my input here is greater than this. So when my input is greater than this positive reference point, my output changes from positive to negative. Okay. Similarly, my output changes from negative to positive. When it switches from negative to positive, when my V in is less than the V negative. Okay, so this is my V negative point. When my V in is this side, less than V negative, in that case, there is a switchover from negative to positive. In between, I will not have any switchover. I will not have any transition. Okay, so this part of the graph is called as hysteresis. This block like thing is there, no? That is called as hysteresis. Okay, we'll see an example for schematic trigger. Just see, hope it is, everything is given. That is your saturation voltage V sat plus V sat and minus V sat is plus or minus 12. R1 is equal to R2 and input voltage is 10 volts. Peak triangular signal. What is the resulting output? Okay. So what will be the output of a schematic trigger? Output of the schematic trigger, it will be switching between plus 12 volts and minus 12 volts. That is plus V sat and minus V sat. Okay, so output is again only saturation points, plus V sat or minus V sat. When it will switch, that is what we have to see. So switch to negative will occur when my input is greater than the positive reference voltage and when my input is less than the negative reference voltage. That is what we said. Whenever input is greater than positive reference and whenever input is less than negative reference, then you'll be having a change in the state. You can understand it from the diagram. See, this is my input signal. Triangular signal is my input signal. Reference voltage is somewhere here. You have to calculate the value. How much it will be? 12 volts. R1, R2 equal. So substituting in that expression, it will come to half of that, 6 volts. So plus 6 and minus 6. Okay, let me take here. So this is my plus 6 and minus 6. So whenever input is greater than this and whenever my input is less than this reference. Okay, so in those cases, you'll be having switches, transition in the output. Okay, just go through.